staunch women, a faithful follower especially prepared to engage in crime or violence by way of service. Hello, Vicky here, and welcome to this special edition of the Bond Room Unlocked, whereby we'll be hearing from a Bond supporting actor about his time on the Bond sets and many other films besides, coupled with some fan favourite henchmen and women that have spanned our 60-year franchise. But first, I'm honoured to welcome actor Shaun Cronin to the Bond Room Unlocked.
Hello, the Bond Room Unlocked, and hello to the wonderful Victoria Hodges, who sent me a few questions. I don't know if you know who I am. I'm Shaun Cronin. I've been in 85 movies. I've died in 79. And my first Bond movie that I was in was The World Is Not Enough. And I did a Skyfall campaign as well later on, but I'll tell you about that in a short while. So here are the first questions that Victoria's asked me. She said, how did I first get into the film business? Well, I was walking down the road, Portobello Road, in 1998, I think it was, and a lady stopped me. She said, my God, you look really evil. Do you want to be in The Mummy? And I found myself, I said, of course I said yes. So I found myself down at Shepperton Studios, shaved from head to foot, including my eyebrows, my legs, and my pubes, painted gold, wearing a nappy. And there I was playing a gold priest on the set of The Mummy, directed by Stephen Sommers, $250 million movie. And I walked into this, amazing set where they've built ancient Egypt, and I got the bug.
And I believe you got a Bond job not long after that, didn't you, Shaun? Is that right?
And ironically, the next little role I got was, I was kind of a glorified extra, what they call a walk-on feature in those days. And I got a little spot in The World Is Not Enough. I was young then, and a couple of funny stories about that movie was I had to hold Denise Richards round the waist for 11 days, and she never said hello to me once. And I was kind of Renard's henchman, and then very nice of Pierce Brosnan. He opened a submarine door with my head. Rather nice of me. A little funny story behind that. We were moving from set, submarine set to this set to that set, and they built this interior of a submarine. It looked like a huge crate from the outside, but inside it was a Russian sub. And literally built everything. And the whole thing was on hydraulics, so you get the feeling of the motion of the water. And anyway, we were moving from stage to stage, and the stunt guys were still on the previous stage, and we were waiting for this scene where Pierce opens a submarine door with my head, and I was going, where are the stunt guys? Where are they? They're taking forever. I said, don't worry about it. I'll do the stunt. They said, no, we can't. We've got other stunt guys, and the time kept ticking on, and the other scene was going on. The second unit was going on the other stage, and eventually the director's gone, oh, come on, let's risk it for a biscuit. Anyway, so Pierce got 1, 2. Bang! 11 stitches in my head, and I got into serious trouble for pushing the crew to do it. And the lesson is, leave the stunts to the people that know what they're doing.
Now, I'll make no bones about it. I absolutely love Pierce Brosnan. What was he like to work with?
So I had a great time working on The World Is Not Enough. Pierce is a lovely chap. He partly smoked all my cigarettes, but and Pierce was playing backgammon on set between takes, because it's one of his favourite games, and I'm really good at backgammon, so I cheekily snuck up, said, Mr. Bond, I'll thrash your ass, mate. And he's gone there, whatever. And anyway, a couple of days later, he's gone, come on then, and I beat him. I beat Pierce Brosnan at backgammon by 1 point, so I can now say I've beaten James Bond at backgammon. So it was, a really, really wonderful experience. I mean, there's a couple of other little stories on there, which I probably shouldn't tell you because they're a bit inappropriate, but I'm going to tell you anyway. There was a chap called Goldie on the set of The World Is Not Enough, and he was playing one of the villains. And Goldie likes to smoke a bit of weed, and he said to me, 6 o'clock, he's gone, Shaun, we're not going to be used. It's the end of the day. He said, do you fancy a quick spliff? And, I went, well, I shouldn't really. But anyway, it was very near the end of the day. I thought, why not? Nothing ventured, nothing gained. Anyway, so I've had a little toke on this. This, it was only homegrown or whatever it was, but it sent me and I get suddenly through the channel, Shaun Cronin, A stage, and I go, nah, and I've got me army jumpers off, my gun's back in the dressing room, so I rushed into the dressing room, got my jumper on, put it on back to front with a label sticking out the front, put the gun on the wrong way round, rushed to the set, where I was continuing the scene where I was holding Denise Richards round the waist. I see Sophie Morceau, who was playing Electra in The World Is Not Enough. She's got very similar hair to Denise, so I've gone up, walked up, grabbed her around the waist, and Michael Apted, the director, gone, no, put her down, that's the wrong girl. So, another lesson. 1, don't do your own stunts. And 2, don't smoke weed on set.
I love on-set stories like this. We'll have more from the lovely Shaun in a few minutes, but let's hear from Bond fan Jon Smith about his favourite henchman or woman.
So I've never claimed that Diamonds Are Forever is my favourite Bond film or even in my top 10, but one of the elements that I really like about the film and I absolutely love is the henchmen, Mr. Wint and Mr. Kidd. Not one henchman, 2 henchmen together, 2 close friends, perhaps closer than friends, as the film alludes. I think that the elements that I really like, that are done really well about Mr. Wint and Mr. Kidd, are the fact that first and foremost, they're always in the shadows. Bond doesn't see them, he's not aware of their existence, yet they're always nearby, following him, a couple of footsteps behind, or maybe even a couple of footsteps ahead. Their demeanour is unsettling and disarming, and almost feels like it could be at home in a horror film. The fact that they deal with things in such a psychopathic, sociopathic way, right from the moment where they first drop the scorpion down the back of the unsuspecting Dr. Tynan, through to the point where Mrs. Whistler is dragged out of the Amsterdam canals, and it's just a matter of fact to them. It's all dealt with so calmly, with Mr. Kidd even taking some photographs for the children. I like every element of the fact that they're in the shadows, and I think what highlights that even more is John Barry's superb theme for them. I can't think of a better theme for a villain, let alone a henchman, that is just so creepy and unsettling. I really love their final climactic fight with Bond, and even then their calm nature persists, with their saying, if you find out what it is, then it wouldn't be a bomb surprise. I love the comical nature in which they're dealt with, that still maintains kind of their elusive nature, and I think that they are some of the creepiest henchmen to ever be seen in a Bond film, and certainly those that hold up the mantle of spy film villains. Never quite in front of Bond, never in his sights, but always there.
Wint and Kidd are a brilliant double act, and one of the reasons that I like Diamonds Are Forever from 1971. Bruce Glover and Porter Smith play these characters with such delicious creepiness, and I think they really command the screen whenever they are on it.
So yeah, and also Victoria's asked me about. I was a key scene in Mission Impossible: Rogue Nation. Great fun again. I was on that. That's when I over the years I gave up doing even what they call walk-on or featured extra work back in that 2005, and I got a proper agent and started doing proper parts. And I've made something like, I think I've made 85 movies. I've died in 79 of them. So great spot on a Mission Impossible. Simon Pegg Steel was my fate. It was fantastic. The first day I get there, you've gone from when you're an extra in a movie, you can make your own way there on a bus or whatever. This time I'm being picked up in a limo, driven to the set. And as I arrived for my first day of 21 days, I think I was on Mission Impossible. There's a guy, he's holding my head under his arm. I went, that's me! Oi, give my head back! And they obviously made a perfect model of my face. You know, it was a really great scene where Simon Pegg disguises himself as me in order to penetrate the syndicate. And you know, ultimately, you know, we rip it off and we reveal it's actually him playing me. So, but on set, it was me playing him, playing me. Great experience though, and Tom Cruise gets a lot of bad press. He's actually a really nice guy. I complained about the coffee. I said, he goes, Shaun, are you having a good time? I said, it's brilliant, but they've only got, you know, filter coffee. I need my espresso in the morning. You know, it was a joking, passing comment. And the next morning, I get to my trailer, and there's a little Italian coffee stand outside the trailer, especially for me. And of course, you know, everybody else got jealous. And you know, but that's the way he was. He's a super generous guy. You know, I went to not only the premiere of Mission Impossible, I also went to a couple of the cast and crew screenings, and he shows up at every one to thank the crew, thank the cast, and you know, bad press or not, the more successful you become, the more bad press you get, the more enemies you get. But Tom's actually a very nice guy.
Now, Shaun, you mentioned earlier another special Bond piece that you have been involved in. Can you tell us more about that experience?
Yeah, I mean, and then we jumped forward to 2000, I think it was 13, 14, 15. And I go for an audition for a commercial. And I don't know what it is. They're on the big movies, they don't tell you what it is. Anyway, all it says is Scarface villain. So I've gone in for this audition, and I find out that it's the Heineken campaign for Skyfall. In fact, if you have a look at, I think it's in my show reel, but you can also find it online. Heineken cracked the case, and there's a little video of me chasing Daniel Craig through a train in Romania, and it was an amazing experience. They spent, I think it was 9 million on a 60-second commercial. Heineken also gave to Skyfall, in sponsorship money, 75 million, non-recoupable. And all you can see is, you know, imagine that's the beer can, you can see the H through Daniel's fingers, you know, and they paid 75 million quid for that. But it was great fun working with Daniel. Daniel's a really lovely man, very humble chap. I first met Daniel back on a film called Tomb Raider with Angelina Jolie many years ago. And he was, you know, he was a jobbing actor in those days. Who would have thought that he would have gone on to be our most recent and a fantastic Bond. Anyway, so we've done this commercial with him. I'm chasing him and another guy that's dressed like him, and this is kind of like contretemps, which one am I chasing? And me and my friend Alex Reese, who played my sidekick in it, was chasing, you know, Daniel. You can see the commercial, it's great. But then we were invited to come to a lot of the Bond premieres. So we did about, I think, 10 or 15 premieres around Europe, and Daniel Craig would come on. The director comes on, then Daniel will come on and go, well, you know, talk about the film a bit, and then watch out, villains, and then me and Alex would run onto the stage and chase Daniel off again and chase him around the cinema, and that was kind of like a kind of gimmicky, spoofy PR stunt that we did. I think we did 15 premieres, which was great fun.
So there are a few items that I want to share with you today that link with Shaun's Heineken campaign. Now, Heineken were first seen partnering Bond back in 1997 in Tomorrow Never Dies, but is seen constantly throughout the Daniel Craig era. Now, I have a few items I want to share with you here, and the first one is this promotional Heineken 8-coaster set depicting various scenes from Tomorrow Never Dies that is housed in a very smart Heineken tin. Let's move up to 2008 now, where I have another set of coasters. These ones are cardboard, and these depict the silhouette of Bond and also a Bond girl. And you would have seen these in public houses and other drinking establishments. And these are a nice little set, very different to the 1997 version. Now, you can't have two sets of coasters and not have anything to put on the coasters. So here we have the more recent Heineken bottle. And yes, it is full, I haven't drunk it. And this is released for just a promotional campaign for the release of No Time to Die before it got delayed. And again, it just advertises Bond on the front there with the 007 logo and just the premium quality lager. So yeah, I really like the Heineken memorabilia. So yeah, cheers.
Hello, Bond Room Unlocked. My favourite Bond villain, that's got to be Jaws. And the reason, well, in the first one, Spy Who Loved Me, he makes his claim by actually killing a shark. In the second one, he's on his own journey. He becomes good, so he's unique in his own way. I've had the good fortune to meet him in real life several years ago. Gentle giant, and I don't think he can be surpassed, really, in my opinion. And there's been no one quite like him. So, yeah, Jaws all the way for me. Favourite Bond villain. Thank you.
Now, aside from the roles that you've already mentioned, Shaun, what other films have you enjoyed doing?
Well, I played many. I really enjoyed a film I did recently called Kill Kane with Vinnie Jones. And Vinnie Jones plays the goodie. I'm Kane Keegan, the main villain. It was really funny because we had a first-time director and he was only 20-something, very, very timid. His first film with a couple of, semi-names in it. And Vinnie's like this, Vinnie's got the screenplay. He's gone, right, I'm not doing that. Oh, no, I'm not doing that. I've arrived the second day in, and Vinnie's playing a school teacher. I said, Vinnie, can you talk a bit like this? He said, what, like that? I said, no, like this. He said, what, like that? I said, that'll fucking do. But he was great fun to work with. I've just done another film called Rendell 2, which was delayed because of COVID. It'll be coming out probably 2023 now. But it's James Bond meets Deadpool meets Batman. And I'm the main villain. The character's called Smiley, and he's ironically, he owns a big pharmaceutical company. He's a proper Bond villain with a huge empire and a load of henchmen that work for him and lots of helicopters and snazzy vehicles. So Rendell 2, Smiley, he's a brilliant villain. I did another film last year, I keep thinking last year. Last year's 2019 when we were making movies. Called Election Night, where I play a horrible villain. There's a load of riots going on the street. The right wing have got in. I knock on the door looking for shelter, and then I systematically kill everybody in the house, as you do, you see. So I've enjoyed doing that. I've also recently directed a few features. I directed a wonderful movie in 2017, which came out on Armistice Day 2018, about the last hour of the First World War, called 11. So I directed that, and I was DOP on it, and I also play the horrible villain, who turns out to be nice. I don't actually die in this film. And this year, I'm delivering a film, which we shot in 2019 again, but it's coming out later this year, called Give Them Wings, true story of Paul Hodgson, who's a severely disabled guy, so it's My Left Foot meets Billy Elliot. So although I play horrible villains, my calling outside of play horrible villains, which of course I love doing, is directing human interest stories. So, that's and so keep an eye out for Rendell 2, keep an eye out for Election Night, keep an eye out also for another movie called Safeguard I did. Quite a few, and these are all lead villains. I'm the main horrible nasty, so please do look forward to those.
We certainly will. So let's now hear from Bond fan Bill Bokunic about his favourite henchman.
Hi everyone, Bill Bokunic from the United States. Good to see everyone, and I'll tell you, my favorite henchman in all the Bond series is Red Grant from Russia with Love. That was my favorite movie up until Casino Royale came out with Daniel Craig. Now it's my second favorite movie. It's the movie that I had heard about my youth. Didn't get to see it till probably towards the late 70s. And the movie, not only did it live up to the hype, the train fight scene absolutely lived up to the hype. And the fact that Red Grant stalks Bond throughout the movie, in fact, his job is to keep Bond alive till they can spring the trap on him. And it's only the gadget from Q Branch, the anti-Shea case, as well as Bond's quick thinking and getting Red Grant to expose himself as far as being greedy and wanting the 50 gold sovereigns, that Bond's able to overcome him, even though they've planned and trained the whole movie for that one moment. So great scene, great acting, lived up to the hype, still lives up, 50 odd years plus, almost 60 years. So that's my pick for the favorite Bond henchman.
Red Grant is superbly played by the late Robert Shaw, and he's certainly in my top 10 of henchmen and women. Recruited by Spectre agent Rosa Klebb, Shaw portrays this character with a viscerosity and cruelty. He has no care for how he's got to kill and who he kills. So Shaun, how can fans from the Bond community stay in touch and follow your filmic journey?
How can fans stay in touch with me? Well, I'm on Facebook. I've got a fan page on Facebook as well. I've also got Instagram, Shaun Cronin Actor, and Twitter, I think it's Shaun P. Cronin. So please do add me on Facebook. Follow me, I'll follow you back.
So if you want to follow Shaun, it's Shaun Cronin Actor on Instagram and Shaun P. Cronin on Twitter. And finally, Shaun, a question that I ask all of my guests. What is your favourite Bond film?
My favourite Bond film, my God, how can I love Casino Royale, because it was Daniel's first outing, and it was great to see how he interpreted it. And Daniel gets a lot of bad press, and when I first saw him, I thought, oh, is he right? Because they're so used to seeing Roger Moore, witty, charming, funny, Sean Connery, super smooth, slick, mega manly and macho, and but Daniel Craig is much closer to Ian Fleming's original vision of Bond. He was a much kind of more introverted, darker, more gritty character. So I love Casino Royale because it was great to see Ian Fleming's real vision so much more on the screen, because I've read a lot of the Bond movies, and he wasn't quite as Roger Moore was almost not camp, but he was very flamboyant, wasn't he? And very funny. Although I love Roger Moore, I love From Russia with Love, The Spy Who Loved Me. I love The Man with the Golden Gun. I loved one of my favourite villains of all time in any film was always Christopher Lee, who played Scaramanga. He had three nipples, amazing character. And I actually had lunch with him, with a wonderful man called Vic Armstrong. Vic Armstrong's one of the biggest action directors in the world. He had many of the Bonds, of the older Bonds now. He's getting on a bit, Vic. He's probably 70 now. But up until, I think, just The World Is Not Enough, I think he did. He may have done Die Another Day as well. I can't remember. But yeah, I love all the old classics. I mean, I just love Bond. I just love it. I'm fascinated to see where it's going to go from here and who's going to be the new Bond. I've actually been down to see the Bond people at Pinewood very recently. They won't even tell me what the role was. It was a massive audition. We'll wait and see what happens. On these films, they didn't even say it was Bond, but I know the casting director, Debbie McWilliams, and I thought, is that Debbie? And it was. I thought, oh. So I don't know what it is. I mean, they wouldn't say it was Bond. When I did the Mission Impossible, the film was called Taurus, and I went back three times for auditions when it was called Taurus, and it wasn't until the fourth time I attended the studios in Leavesden for the actual final screen test, and Tom Cruise walked in. I went, this is Mission Impossible. This was down at Pinewood. It was with the casting director from Bond. I don't know if it was Bond. They wouldn't tell me what it was. I was an unknown agent in it, and I wrote, I can't remember the lines. I said something like, meet me by the clock tower, and I won't be wearing a pink carnation. Something like that. I can't remember exactly what I said. Anyway, it's been lovely talking to you. The Bond room unlocked is great fun. It's great to be there. I'll be posting I'm going to dig out some of my old photos. I've got lots of stills with me from various characters on the Bond films that I've done. So I'm going to be posting bits and pieces. Keep up to date with my career, and thank you, Victoria, for doing what you do with the page. It's really great fun. Thanks, guys. Watch out for villains; they're everywhere.
Thank you, Shaun. What a fabulous guy Shaun is, and thank you for sharing your stories with us here at the Bond Room Unlocked. So if you've enjoyed this guest edition, then please give it an MI6 stamp of approval and click on the notifications below. Why not subscribe to this channel so you don't miss out on any further fabulous guests and spy missions? You can follow the Bond Room Unlocked on Facebook and also on Instagram too. My special thanks also go to Bond fans Jon Smith, Shaun Garland and Bill Bokunic for sharing their thoughts on the James Bond world. And I'll leave you now with our incognito Bond fan and their favourite henchman. See you next week.
Hello, Denise, happy Friday here. I'm going to go for Dario as my favourite henchman. I think he's the most sadistic and he obviously gets pleasure from inflicting physical and emotional pain, hence what he did to Felix and Della. He's got a boyish but unhinged element to him, which I think makes him even more creepy in my book, and he certainly deserved the gruesome send-off from Bond. Thank you.